Good morning, good morning, good morning. This is Conversations with Richardson on WBOK 1230 AM, streaming worldwide on WBOK1230.com and also on YouTube. We're back for another great episode of Conversations with Richardson, and I would like to welcome to the show the woman of the hour, Miss Irie Booth. Irie is an author, entrepreneur, all-around great person, but I'm going to let her do her own honors and introduce herself. Irie, how are you?
I'm doing great this morning. Thank you for having me.
Can you hear?
Yeah, I can hear.
All right, come into your microphone a little bit because you're coming in kind of low.
Sorry.
Come on. All right, go ahead.
That's better? So my name is Ari. As Ron mentioned, I'm from originally from Austin, Texas, by way of Flint and Philly. Dad's from Flint, mom's from Philadelphia. And I moved here about 5 years ago to New Orleans, fell in love with the city, and want to stay for sure. So happy to be here.
All right, Irie's here to talk about her new book. Why don't you give us the title and tell us about your new book?
Yeah, so my new book is called Navigate, Thrive Beyond Dysfunctional Leadership. It's basically a guideline and a tool to help people who are struggling with difficult work environments to find some clarity and ways to get around some of the difficult things they might be experiencing. It helps them to put a name to what they might be dealing with, because a lot of times people don't really know or can't really describe what it is they're experiencing at work.
Right.
And so this is a tool to help them understand what it is they're experiencing and help them navigate through it.
So what was your reasoning behind writing your book?
I noticed a lot of stories that I've heard from people, especially people who are at the top of their game, top talent, very high performers, very dedicated to their craft, having difficulty in their work environments, specifically from their leaders. And a question always came to my mind: why is this person with so much talent not able to perform,
right,
given their ability? And I was like, maybe it's the environment, maybe it's their leader. So I would ask them, hey, how is your boss? Like, how do they treat you? Oh, well, they micromanage me. They don't trust me. It's not a healthy environment. Expectations always change. And I'm like, aha, how are people supposed to bring their best every day and use their talent to their full ability if the environment isn't set up that way?
right.
And how can they, if they can't change the environment, still perform and do what it is they're great at? So
Right.
that's mainly why this book was written.
Right. So what has been your experience in the workplace, and how have you, added to people's lives as far as helping them get through difficult work situations?
I would say my experience in the workplace actually started before I got to the workplace. Growing up, I was constantly surrounded by people who led by amazing example, from my parents to community leaders to even basketball coaches. I grew up playing basketball, played collegiately, Division I basketball.
Mhm.
And I think that early in life, exposure to exceptional leadership and people leading by example the healthy way
Yeah.
gave me a great foundation to recognize later what dysfunction looks like.
Mhm.
So when I left, I grew up, graduated school,
Mhm.
started getting into different work environments. I started to notice a change.
Mhm.
And things weren't always as structured as when I was growing up. Things
Right.
weren't always as clear,
Mhm.
from people supposedly in charge,
Right.
the way I was exposed to.
Right.
And it made me question, like, why are these people leading like this? Like, who are their mentors? Like, why are they doing this?
Right. That's the biggest thing. I always go back to, a lot of people weren't raised the way you were raised, and they don't have the same core values
hmm
that you may have. So when you get into the workplace, when you get at that age where you have to start working, and you have to start making your own money, when you get into the workplace, you see things and it's like, that's not right.
Yeah.
But you being a new employee and a new kid on the block, so to speak, you have to learn to adjust. And even when you adjust, sometimes
hmm
you can look at your manager and say, okay, I know that's not right. I've
Yeah.
been in plenty of situations where, especially working in this industry in radio, where, you look at some program directors and managers, and you're like, okay, that's not right.
Yeah.
You know, it messes with your values, and it makes you question your own way of doing things. But I'm glad that, you know, you're shedding light on this subject and you wrote the book, because a lot of people are in toxic situations.
Yeah.
And you know, the thing is that people don't realize that those toxic situations in the workplace can really affect your mental health.
For sure. I know from personal experience, and I have a lot of close friends who that was the case, where it does take a toll on you mentally, especially when you're a high achiever, high performer,
Right.
and you have goals for yourself,
Hmm.
and you know, right or wrong, set timelines and,
Hmm.
you know, for when you want to accomplish those goals.
Right. Right.
And so when you have someone who has authority over you and has a say in your progression at that company
Hmm.
or in that industry, and they're dysfunctional or they're not an advocate for you, they're not a sponsor for you, it can be disorienting, especially, you know, as a young person and even somebody who's 25 years in their craft
Hmm.
and they hit this roadblock of a leader who is really giving them a hard time despite their experience, despite their expertise. You know, this person is just not for you. So how do you deal with that? How do you still thrive when there's this perceived barrier in your way? And that's what this book answers.
You are a woman of, you wear many hats. So, you know, I want you to talk a bit about your personal experience in the workplace.
My career started, like I kind of mentioned before, with some of the most exceptional leaders I have ever experienced.
Hmm.
It really started with basketball. Um, Very structured, very high performance, very healthy environments from the coaches I had in high school. You know, starting age of 15. That's where I started really learning how to conduct myself as a professional and as a person, not even just as a woman, but as a professional. Starting at 15 with those basketball environments, and then my first, I guess, workplace outside of sports, same thing. Very exceptional, highly regarded, um, top of the line leaders who really taught me how to show up in the workplace
Yes.
and how to lead people and how to lead myself first. So to have that baseline from the age of 15 to 23 with honestly and truthfully, actually, some of the top leaders in the world set me up tremendously to number one, create that environment for when I am in those positions for the people that I'll lead. And then also, two, to be able to recognize when that's not happening, and to be able to help people, you know, like I'm trying to do now with this book, when they're
Right.
dealing with environments that are the complete opposite of what I was raised in.
Right.
So,
The title is so inspiring, you know,
yeah.
navigate. So, what do you feel it means to navigate through dysfunctional leadership?
In my experience, when I found myself in those environments of like dysfunction and, you know, unhealthy dynamics, everything felt foggy.
Everything felt foggy.
Foggy.
Continue.
Everything felt like unclear, like I couldn't see my way through. I thought I knew, I thought I was doing the right things every day in my role, doing things outside of my role, but nothing felt aligned, nothing felt clear, and it just feels like you're in a fog. And so that's where the name Navigate came from,
Hmm.
because I was thinking, I need a map to get through this. I need some kind of clarity to get through these kinds of
Yeah.
experiences, because without that clarity, I'll just be stuck. I'll just be a sitting boat in the water with nowhere to go.
Hmm.
And that's not me. That's not my personality.
Right.
And that's not what I want for the next generation. That's not what I want for this generation. We have to be able to navigate our way through these kind of difficult environments because we have too much to give the world to be held back by that. So that's where Navigate came from.
For, you know, we talk about how difficult the workplace is. You know, what do you feel, or should I say, when it comes to navigating through the workplace, for those people who feel like they're in a difficult situation and they necessarily don't have a map or a certain way to go about navigating through the workplace, what would you tell them?
I would tell them, you are not alone. You are not imagining things. I would tell them to understand your own triggers, which is a subject that I do talk about in the book,
Yeah.
because it's a two-way street in any relationship, work relationship, personal relationship. It's a two-way street with, your experience. So understand what your triggers are whenever you are in the workplace. And once you understand yourself better, you can better navigate what's happening around you. But understand that you're not alone and you're not imagining things. And if you feel like something's not right, it probably isn't.
Hit us up, man. Drop us a line, 504-582-9422, 504-582-9422. We're here with Miss Irie Booth, author of Navigate, teaching us how to flow smoothly in difficult workplaces, dysfunctional workplaces. I touch on mental health a lot, and I wanted to touch on you being in the workforce and workplace, you being as young as you are. How have certain situations affected your mental health when it comes to dealing with somebody who is a manager who is difficult?
Tremendously. Especially, I consider myself like a high achiever. Like I strive to be the best I can be every day and everything. I always want to get better. And when I felt and perceived that that was being hampered or not appreciated or disregarded, it completely impacted my mental health. I
Yeah.
took it extremely personally. I was completely stressed. I was depressed. I gained a lot of weight. I just completely internalized what this other person was doing or other people were doing or what the environment was doing. And I essentially gave my power away. I let them have that kind of power over me because I took it so personally, until one day I realized I need to take my power back. Like, these environments can't have a say in my own experience and how I experience my life and my work path. So that shift came, and I talk about that in the book.
Right. I can remember a personal story that happened a year ago, and me, you, in essence, talked about this off air. I was in a bad situation at another station, and I really started to feel it when I would wake up every day, and I knew I would have to go in to that place and deal with that certain group of people. And really and truthfully, it got to be too much. But when you're in that situation, when you're in the workplace and you're working for that company, you really don't pay attention to your own mental health, because it's almost like you are in tunnel vision because you're focused on the task at hand, until one day I came home and, I had a talk with God, and I said, is this what you want me to do? Now, I'm not saying what I did was the best situation, because you guys know what happened. But when I finally broke down and said what I had to say, it was very freeing. And I'm glad that I was able to walk away from that situation unscathed. Continue.
Yeah, and that is actually a chapter in the book, knowing when to stay and when to leave. That is a very important period of self-awareness that I encourage everyone to take, especially when, it feels like you're on your last leg in whatever environment you're in. You really need to take inventory of your whole experience, how you're reacting to everything, what's actually happening, not what you think or feel is happening, but like write down what is actually happening, the pros and cons. And if the cons outweigh the pros, then, it's time to make a decision on whether you're going to stay or leave.
Yeah, and that's the hardest thing, because it's like, you're constantly thinking about it. Okay, is this the right thing? And I'm the type of person, I've never quit anything.
Right.
I'll stay the duration and I'll deal with as much of the BS as I can.
Yeah,
but
same
this
here.
really got to be too much. But we have a caller for you, because she's at home listening, and she's somebody near and dear to your heart.
Uh-oh.
Caller, are you there?
I'm here.
What is your name and where are you calling from?
My name is LaTanya Booth, and I'm calling from Austin, Texas.
Okay. Do you have a question for our guest?
I absolutely do.
All right.
So my question is this. I'm here. Are you still able to hear me?
Yeah, yeah.
My name is Lasagna Booth.
Okay, you
What?
I need you to, wherever you are, I need you to stay in one spot because you're moving away from the phone.
Yes. So my question is this. What did you write? I'm sorry. I lost my spot. What's one mindset shift you hope readers take away immediately? What's the one thing they should take away after reading this book?
The one mindset shift that readers should take away from this book is that clarity is the most important thing you have to have in these environments because dysfunction thrives on confusion. The more confusion there is, the more the dysfunction can grow. Get clarity before you get anything else, and then you can navigate because what you can't name, you can't navigate. So, above all, get clarity.
And that's the biggest thing I tell people all the time, when it comes to mental health. Before you do anything else, get clarity of whatever scenario that you may be faced with, whether it be you quitting a job, whether it be you quitting a job and moving toward bigger and better things. Just make sure before you do take any drastic steps, make sure you get clarity and, decide what you want to do so you don't walk out of one situation into something else that could be worse. So,
Exactly.
Ms. Boot, do you have anything else to say to our special guest?
Only that I'm extremely proud, and thank you so much for the opportunity.
All right. And she has a big smile on her face.
Thanks, Mama.
I don't know if you can see her in the studio, but she is like smiling from ear to ear. So we are glad that you called in, and we are glad that you are supporting her. And, we know that you are special to her.
Awesome. Well, I'll just continue to listen in and enjoy the rest of the interview.
All right. Thank you for calling in, okay? All the best to you.
Thank you.
All right. 504-582-9422. We're here with Miss Irie Booth. So how has your journey shaped your creativity?
That's a great question. How has my journey shaped my creativity?
Mhm.
I would say maybe the hardships more than anything
Of course.
shaped my creativity.
Right.
I think everything great is born out of fire, difficulty, and pressure. You're forced to be creative when you're uncomfortable. Like you're forced to find solutions when you're stuck between a rock and a hard place.
Yeah.
So what has birthed and really highlighted and brought my creativity to light is the dark places that I was in some of these experiences. So I would say, yeah, the hardships birthed and created my creativity.
So if you don't mind me asking, we don't want to get too personal here, but what have been some of those hardships? What are some things that you've experienced that make you say, you know what, enough is enough, I quit?
I've experienced leaders who personally, made it their mission and told me that they would make sure I wouldn't succeed. Like very directly, very personally. And again, for a high achiever and at the time, people pleaser too.
Right.
I'm not going to lie, I was a people pleaser.
Right.
Real bad.
Right.
real bad.
Right.
That was crushing. And it put me in a dark hole. It didn't have to, but at the time I gave people that kind of power.
Right.
But it put me in a dark place that, eventually happened for a reason. It was part of the birthing of this book, but I think that was one of the major things that really, plunged me at the time.
Hit us up, man. 504-582-9422. Remember, guys, you can find me on Facebook. Just search for the Ron Rich or Ron Richardson Facebook page. You can also find me on Instagram. Just search for Ronald_Richardson_Jr. I also have a secondary Instagram page, Ronnie_Richardson_Jr. I'm also on TikTok, Lemon, and I'm also new to Substack. All the same name, I'm on all social media handles. Tell them where they can get in contact with you, Miss Boo.
On Instagram, navigate.dysfunction, or online, www.navigatetothrive.com.
All right, man. We'll be right back after this. This is Conversations with Ron Richardson on WBOK 1230 AM, streaming worldwide on WBOK1230.com and also on YouTube. We'll be back in a sec. Peace, New Orleans.
I'm Leo Jackson, host of Sunday Gospel here every Sunday morning, 5 a.m. to 7 p.m. and 12 o'clock till 2 p.m. You don't want to miss this move of God. It happens only on WBOK. You listen to all day long.
Hey guys, if you know like I do, finding the right company for home improvements can be a pain in the you-know-what. If this is something that you can relate to, you need to contact my friend Reginald Simmons at Domingos Home Improvements. Domingos offers many services such as electrical repairs, kitchen and bathroom upgrades, wood and fence installation, and so much more to get your home back in tip-top shape. For a free quote, you can call 504-914-0491. You can also find Reginald on Facebook at Reginald Simmons Jr. or on Instagram at Call Me Ghost. Home improvements done the right way. Just call Domingos Home Improvement. Or on Instagram at call_me_ghost 7583. Call_me_ghost 7583.
Hey family, Ron Richardson here, host of Conversations with Ron Richardson. If you're looking for quality catering and barbecue, you need to contact my friends at Kuzan's Catering and Barbecue Team. Mr. Eddie Bunch and Kuzan's have been serving the West Bank since 2013 with their quality selection of barbecue and seafood. If you're looking for quality catering, be sure to contact Kuzan's Catering, located at 618 Westwood Drive in Marrero, or you can go to kuzansonline.com for more information for all the services that they offer, or call 504-233-4227. Catering done the right way just for you. That's Kuzan's, baby.
New Orleans, you want to know what we're talking about? Tune in every Saturday morning from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. on WBOK for Conversations with Ron Richardson. The topics will always be hot and the conversation will be all the way live. Meet us there. We'll save you a seat. We can also talk about you and your business as a sponsor of Conversations with Ron Richardson. Contact Ron at 504-874-4584 or email him at richardsonronald024@gmail.com for more details.
Are you looking for the next burlesque sensation? Searching for some prime entertainment on a Sunday night? Well, come down to the Always Lounge as Scarlett Letta presents Show Me Your Noobs. You'll see the finest new entertainers performing burlesque, drag, and a variety of acts that will tease, titillate, and delight you. We're here every third Sunday of the month. Come catch the most raved about show in New Orleans that no one has ever heard of until now. Show Me Your Noobs. It's the perfect night out, whether you're a burlesque regular or sharing your first time with us. Show Me Your Noobs will leave you breathless.
For more information on Show Me Your Noobs, go to thealwayslounge.net.
WBOK, online at WBOK1230.com.
It's the place where we can be open and honest about real life issues. You're listening to Conversations with Ron Richardson, live on WBOK and online at WBOK1230.com.
Welcome back. Conversations with Ron Richardson on WBOK 1230 AM, streaming worldwide on WBOK1230.com. And we have a very, very special guest, Miss Ari Booth, author, businesswoman, and all around good person. How you doing?
I'm doing great.
You were a little nervous that first time
I
around.
was.
But you okay? You good?
Yeah, I'm feeling good. I'm loose now.
Yeah, the second segment is always the best with the first time. So I'm glad to have you here, man, and I'm glad that we are able to help you through this new journey of radio, doing your very first radio interview and having fun here with us at WBOK. So I want to talk about, continue talking about the workplace and your experiences. You said that, managers have told you personally that they will make sure that you don't succeed and they will keep you right where they think you should be.
Yeah. And again, like I kind of mentioned before, for someone who's a high achiever,
Right.
highly goal oriented, driven, that's crushing.
Yeah.
And sometimes, for some people, if they know that about you, they can use that against you. But healthy leaders use that to boost you.
My thing is this, and this is just a question I'm throwing out there. I don't know, or a statement I'm throwing. I don't know what makes people think that they can tell you where you're going to end up when they don't even really know your struggle or the different things that you've been through to get you where you are. I can remember some years ago, I was in college, and I was on my way to out graduating and different things like that. And a woman told me, an instructor told me, who's going to remain nameless. She said, "Well, I don't think that you belong here." And I was like, "Well, what gives you that right to tell me where I belong when you don't even know my story? You don't even know my journey of what got me here.
Right.
I may not be top of the line student, or I may not be the first choice at different things, but there is a reason why I'm here."
Right.
And she just looked at me like, "No." And I'm like, and I went home that particular day and I held on to that, and I was like, it made me feel some type of way. It's like, so are you, and automatically, us as black folk, we've been through so much when it comes to racism, you automatically think, okay, was that a racist statement, or was she just trying to light a fire under me so I can improve? But, I took that as, it was kind of, an insult, because you really don't even know me,
Yeah. And I'll even say this: antagonistic personas, they don't have no color.
Mm.
So sometimes they can look like you.
Yeah.
And want to be a hindrance to your path. So, for the audience, don't assume it's going to be somebody that doesn't look like you or from another background. It can be, it takes all shapes and forms. And that's been my experience as well. And the people closest to me.
Right. And sometimes it's, the people in your own family that will, have you questioning your own value to what you're trying to do and what are you trying to accomplish. Because, I've had many people that I'm related to ask me, "Well, why do you want to do that?" I'm like, "Well, that's what I want to do." And then it automatically goes into, well, I think you should do this. And I'm like, "No, this is what I want to do." What happens is people always project their stuff onto you because they didn't achieve or set out to do things that they wanted to do.
And the book definitely highlights that, because what we're dealing with here ultimately is insecurities, unaddressed insecurities, and people that just happen to be in those positions of power.
Right.
But you can navigate through that.
Right.
Yep.
How?
You gotta read the book.
Well, give us one pointer.
So let's say you have a micromanager. There's a reason why they're a micromanager. That stems from deeper issues, right? It's not about the talent that they have on their team. It's totally about that person. So number one, do not internalize the behavior of a micromanager. It's not about you or your ability or whether you're trustworthy. It is 100% about that micromanager, because they've either had life experiences where they've always had to be in charge, usually at an age that was too early for them to be in charge of things. They want to control because they lack trust because of those early experiences. And sometimes they just want all the credit, but that's another thing. But that's one example of
And I can remember
masked insecurity.
Yeah, I can remember another radio station I was working for. I dealt with exactly that, and it just got to a point. I think you guys know me pretty well. I speak my mind, but I worked for this station for a while, and everything started off great. He praised me because I did such a good job, and I knew what I was doing coming in. But as soon as I made a little mistake, he literally, now keep in mind, it's the weekend. I'm away. The station is not on my mind.
Yeah.
But he called me and he was like, yo, I need you to do this. And I was like, dude, I can't say what I told him on air, but I was like, yo, it's the weekend, back up. And it was at that point I realized, I got to get away from him. But I didn't make the decision at that point in time. I had thought about it. Luckily, okay, I can tell this story because I'm not there anymore. But luckily, he fired me through email.
Through email.
He fired me through email.
Oh my God.
And at first glance of the email, I was irritated. I was mad. Like, that's a punk move. And I was like, he could have been a man and told me what he needed to tell me face to face. But I said, you know what? That was God's way of not letting me get myself in trouble, because I would have said something.
Mm-hmm.
And, fast forward years later, we talked about that. And I told him how I felt about it. And, we patched it up and we were able to move on. But, a lot of situations don't end up like that for certain people.
Right. Yeah, they can be very difficult. But I agree. Sometimes, regardless of your spiritual belief, my belief is that God will make a way out. He'll give you a way out of things.
Come to your mic a little bit more.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was just saying that, my belief is, regardless of, anyone else's spiritual background, God will make a way out of things. Sometimes it's on you to do it, but sometimes he'll go ahead and open a door that needs to be open so you can either make an exit or make an entrance into your next thing. And from what I've learned from others and experienced myself, that happens a lot when you're dealing with these kinds of environments that I talk about in the book. Right. There's a way that's going to be made, an opportunity for you to either improve the situation or remove yourself from the situation. It always happens.
Right. What's one big misconception about dysfunctional and toxic workplaces?
A common misconception is that it's okay because it's the norm. It is never okay for a workplace to be toxic. Just because it's common does not mean it's okay. It's not okay. And a lot of people don't fight for themselves and stand up for themselves because they think it's everywhere.
Right.
Especially since COVID happened. Oh, workplaces are down the drain since COVID, so there's nothing we can do about it. Yes, there is. Don't use that excuse. You're not a victim. I'm not no victim. So if there's a way we can improve these workplaces, starting with ourselves, then let's do it. But don't just sit back and default to, well, it's all around the world, so what are you going to do about it?
I'm a big person on advocating for yourself. I've said this many times on the show. You have to advocate for yourself, even if that means standing up for yourself in a way that's unconventional. And most of you know what I mean when I say that. But even if that means standing up in a way for yourself that is unconventional, even if it means burning a bridge.
Yep.
We've heard all our lives that, you don't want to burn bridges. You don't want to burn bridges. And it's true. You don't want to burn bridges. But sometimes you have to break away from that toxicity.
Yeah.
And that means, okay, saying, you know what? Forget this and forget you. I'm going on and I'm going to do something that's going to benefit my mental health.
Yeah.
And anything is better than staying in a toxic situation that you can't get out of.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, what happens is, and you know this to be true, I think everybody in this room knows this to be true, they're going to get rid of you anyway.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. Bridge burning takes a lot of discernment and self-awareness. If you understand that bridge is no longer aligned with you, who you're becoming, and your purpose, light the match. It served its purpose.
Yeah.
But if you are discerning enough to understand this is no longer part of my life right now, but it's still attached to my purpose, don't light the match. Like, walk away gracefully Keep it professional, maintain respect on your part as long as it is up to you, regardless of what they do or say. And just walk away, but don't burn it. But if it's no longer aligned with where you're going or who you're becoming, burn it. Burn it. Get rid of it.
Yeah. Man, I posted something a while on Facebook. If burning bridges means, you know, I have to lose the respect for someone, I got matches. We ride at dawn. And it's really, like I said, you don't want to burn the bridge, but sometimes that's what it takes to get you to the point where you need to be, as far as your mental health goes, your career, so decision goes, everything.
Yeah. Burnt bridges, it doesn't mean it's forever.
Right.
Because anything can happen. Life is a funny thing. So also, don't assume that just because you burned that bridge last year or 10 years ago, things could come around. You never know.
Right.
But for the moment and for yourself, just understand when it is time to burn the bridge and when it's time maybe not to.
I want to switch gears here, and I want to talk about Heart and Hands, the company that you're currently with, or organization that you're currently with, and my good friend, Miss Essence Harris Banks, who's sitting behind me on camera in the studio. She came for more support. So tell us about your role with Heart and Hands and how you met Essence and how that whole situation got started.
I met Essence about 5 years ago when I moved here from Austin, and she and her family just completely took me under their wing.
Really?
And never looked back. And
Right.
I'm so grateful for that.
Right.
And she's the reason I'm here today too on the station. So big shout out to Essence.
Yeah.
Major connector. That's her nickname. I call her the connector.
The connector.
She just
Right.
does it for everybody.
Yeah.
But I met her. I moved here to open the Four Seasons Hotel New Orleans.
Okay.
As their lead recruiter and HR, also HR generalist. Huge endeavor. One of the hardest things I've ever done, but very rewarding.
Wow.
But she and I were working in the same department at the time.
Yeah.
And then she moved on to become the director of operations for the hotel, for their executive committee. But while we were in the same department, she said, "Hey, I have a nonprofit, and I need a lot of help."
Right. Okay.
And I was like, "Okay, I'll help you."
Yeah.
What is it? 5K? What is it? But long story short, it ended up being a big job and a lot of help she needed for that. So,
Yeah.
but I just hopped on board and said, whatever you need, I believe in this mission, and here we are today. Yeah, Mom, she started a chapter in Austin. She hopped on board, so the whole Austin family is a heart and hands fam. So we're here.
So how does the book connect with Heart and Hands, Nola?
How does the book connect? I would say Heart and Hands is the foundation that is part of my early foundation of when I spoke about effective leadership. Essence is an effective leader. She's been an effective leader for a long time.
Yeah.
And she demonstrates that in her nonprofit,
Yeah.
not only in the corporate workspace, but also in her own endeavors, including with Heart and Hands.
Right.
And so Heart and Hands is a good measuring stick for understanding what great looks like, what the right thing looks like, and what the wrong thing looks like. So she's another add-on to my earlier experiences of leaders
Right.
that understand the assignment and leaders that don't understand the assignment. Yeah.
Because we both know there's a lot of that out there.
Yeah.
So, as far as the workplace goes and employment and employers, what is something that you want to see change in the workplace?
I want to see leaders who are secure enough in themselves to be able to tell the people they lead, we are in unprecedented times. It's never been harder to lead than in the era that we're in right now. And that's okay. But have the self-awareness and be secure enough in yourself to say, we have never had to lead in times like these before. I am learning with y'all. Be patient with me. Teach me how you want to be led so that you can do your job well as you can. I'm here to boost you and get you to your next levels. I'm not here to be your roadblock. Instead of that, you're getting the patterns that I talk about in the book. So it's really deeper. Like, I'm not telling readers that they are the person that needs to change their leader. You're never going to change somebody else.
Right.
My purpose of the book is to help you understand how to navigate those personalities that are not secure in themselves.
What conversations do you hope that your book Navigate will spark in the workplace? And not only in the workplace, but with families, friends, and just the New Orleans community in general.
I hope it serves as a mirror to everyone who's a leader who has people under them. I hope it brings some awareness to people who otherwise were not self-aware and didn't really understand how they might be impacting somebody they're leading.
Okay.
I hope it's not coming off as accusatory, but as a helpful suggestion for improvement for people who are leading right now. And I hope that people who are not yet leaders but will become leaders someday, they can take this information and apply it to how they choose to approach their own leadership style.
Right. Now, we talk about constructive criticism. You will be faced with some backlash because not everybody handles constructive criticism well. So to those leaders that don't handle constructive criticism well from an employee or from somebody that is close to them, what would you tell them?
I would tell them to understand why they're defensive when it comes to constructive criticism. Get to the root of why you're resisting coaching. What's wrong? Why is it that when somebody suggests something to you, you get angry? Where is that coming from? I learned this from Essence, the 5 Whys, because she's also a double black belt, 6 Sigma. So
what?
Yeah, she's accomplished. She's very humble.
You about to make me turn around in the studio live on air? Really?
Like,
okay. Essence, we're gonna have to talk about.
Yeah,
that, okay?
She made me want to get certified.
Yeah.
But anyway,
we gonna talk after the show.
Yeah.
But continue.
Get to the root.
Yeah.
Of your triggers, and that's a chapter in the book. Understand your own triggers. That's for everybody, leaders and people who are being led. Understand your triggers. If you're triggered every time somebody says, "Hey, straighten this up a little bit," why are you getting mad all the time? How come nobody can tell you nothing? Like, figure out your triggers.
And that's the biggest thing. Managers, they always lead with, if you have any problems, you can come to me with anything. But when you come to them, and doesn't even have to be managers, it's people in general, relationships that we have with people, anything. They say, you can talk to me about anything. You can come to me with anything. But when it's something concerning them and some stuff that they did, and you're confronting them, they immediately get on the defense. Oh, you can't tell me that. But it's like, you told me that you're my manager, you whoever, I can come to you. So I'm coming to you with this, not necessarily checking you and trying to tell you what to do, but I have an issue with the way you did something.
Right. Leaders, and a lot of leaders weren't raised to be receptive to feedback that way either. So, and it's hard. If you're a leader who you just refuse, you're just saying, you know what, nobody can tell me anything. I know best and I know everything because I'm the leader. Hey, good luck to you, bro. Or good luck to you, sis. I wish you the best in your struggle.
Right.
Because you won't go far with that attitude.
Yeah, man. It's very difficult. Like I said, I've been in numerous situations where I've been led by certain leaders, and I'm like, look, I'm not one to hold my tongue, and I've been in situations with many leaders where I've came to them with certain situations, and they're like, well, you can't tell me what to do. Well, okay, well, if I can't express myself to you about something that I'm dealing with in the workplace, there's really no need for me to be here.
No.
Find somebody else to do the job.
Exactly.
But nonetheless, man, we got to go to our second break, all right?
Okay.
All right. Conversations with Ron Richardson on WBOK 1230 AM, streaming worldwide on WBOK 1230 1230.com and also on YouTube. Remember, guys, you can catch me on Facebook. Just search for the Ron Rich or Ron Richardson Facebook page. You can also find me on Instagram. Just search for Ronald_Richardson_Jr. on Instagram. And I also have a secondary Instagram page, Ronnie_Richardson_Jr. on Instagram. I'm also on TikTok at Ronald_Richardson_Jr. and Substack, all under the same name. We'll be right back after this. This is Conversations with Ron Richardson. 504-582-9422 is the call-in. We'll be right back after this. See you in a second, New Orleans. Peace.
Hey, this is Steve Poston. Be sure to listen to WBOK 1230 AM every Saturday morning at 10 a.m. and Sunday evening at 5 p.m., bringing you the best Southern Soul barroom music with the Southern Soul Weekend Party Mix, hosted by me, of course. I'll be playing your favorite Southern Soul music by artists from all over the South, right here on WBOK 1230 AM or online at WBOK1230.com. The station you listen to longer. Listen to longer. Listen to longer.
Ron Richardson here. If you are like me, that means you love the feeling of getting a fresh haircut and shave. If you do, then you should check out my friends Eddie and Dana Bunch at First Impressions Barber and Beauty Salon, specializing in hairstyles for men, women, and children. If you want to make a good first impression, you should check out First Impressions Barber and Beauty Salon, located at 618 Westwood Drive in Marrero, or call 504-341-6777. Remember, it's never too late to make that first impression at First Impressions Barber and Beauty Salon.
New Orleans, you want to know what we're talking about? Tune in every Saturday morning from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. on WBOK for Conversations with Ron Richardson. The topics will always be hot and the conversation will be all the way live. Meet us there. We'll save you a seat. We can also talk about you and your business as a sponsor of Conversations with Ron Richardson. Contact Ron at 504-874-4584 or email him at richardsonronald024@gmail.com for more details.
Are you looking for the next burlesque sensation? Searching for some prime entertainment on a Sunday night? Well, come down to the Always Lounge as Scarlett Letta presents Show Me Your Noobs. You'll see the finest new entertainers performing burlesque, drag, and a variety of acts that will tease, titillate, and delight you. We're here every third Sunday of the month. Come catch the most raved about show in New Orleans that no one has ever heard of until now. Show Me Your Noobs. It's the perfect night out, whether you're a burlesque regular or sharing your first time with us. Show Me Your Noobs will leave you breathless.
For more information on Show Me Your Noobs, go to thealwayslounge.net. Hey guys, if you know like I do, finding the right company for home improvements can be a pain in the you know what. If this is something that you can relate to, you need to contact my friend Reginald Simmons at Domingos Home Improvements. Domingos offers many services such as electrical repairs, kitchen and bathroom upgrades, wood and fence installation, and so much more to get your home back in tip-top shape. For a free quote, you can call 504-914-0491. You can also find Reginald on Facebook at Reginald Simmons Jr. or on Instagram at Call Me Ghost. Home improvements done the right way. Just call Domingos Home Improvement or on Instagram at call_me_ghost 7583. Call_me_ghost 7583.
WBOK. Listen now on WBOK1230.com.
Thanks for listening to Conversations with Ron Richardson, live on WBOK, and listen online at WBOK1230.com. Now, back to Ron.
Welcome back. Conversations with Ron Richardson on WBOK 1230 AM, streaming worldwide on WBOK1230.com. We are live in studio with Miss Irie Booth. How you hanging?
I'm doing well, having fun.
You good now, right?
Yeah, I'm good.
Right. Big Kool-Aid smile.
Yep.
I am glad that you are here, man, talking about toxic situations and dysfunctional situations in the workplace. And she wrote a book called Navigate, and its purpose is to help people in the workplace navigate through toxic situations. Man, there's a lot of that going on. Personally, also, I think that people in the workplace, especially managers and leaders, need to be a little bit more compassionate about what some of their people deal with. that's an effective part of being a leader as well. Correct.
Yeah.
Right.
And that factors into emotional intelligence.
Mhm.
So I encourage every leader to get some education, even if it's just on your own, an hour a night, before you go to sleep, reading up on emotional intelligence, how to better relate to other people, whether you lead them or you work alongside them. Human relation is the name of the game. This is a world of people at the end of the day. And the better you can relate to others and relate with others and live and work with others, the better your leadership experience will be.
Looking ahead, what's next for you? Or do you have more projects on the horizon?
Yeah. More books coming
Mhm.
in the shop.
Yeah.
I'll be at the Black Ink Book Festival as well,
Okay.
June 20th, the one at City Park. So I'll have lots of copies of books and goodies and items, giveaways.
Right.
So people are definitely encouraged to come see me.
Yeah.
And yeah, more interviews. And it's really taken off. It's doing well.
You know you're officially a part of the WBOK family now that you've done your first interview with me. Right.
Yeah, I love that.
And to get on my soapbox for a minute, I have a book coming out May 15th, 2026 called Redefining Ability. It's a book of inspirational quotes and messages to anybody who's dealing with mental health.
Okay.
And it helps. It's also going to help, I should say, break the stigma of disability, because I'm all about that on my show. I talk about living with the disability, which is cerebral palsy, and I just want people to understand that the differently able community, not the disabled community, the differently able community is here to stay. I just want to ask you guys for your continued support, and I also thank you for your continued support. My journey and with my message here on WBOK and other platforms that I've been on. So, looking forward, what are some goals that you're trying to accomplish?
I want more people to be able to name what they're experiencing in their work environments so that they have the clarity they need to move forward. It feels like we're in an age where a lot of people are confused and just dealing with a lot. People are dealing with a lot. Not that they never have before, but especially now. And if there's one thing that can help them have some peace of mind about how to move forward with something, I want this book to be one of those things.
If you could turn back the hands of time, what advice would you give your younger self? If you could see your younger self right now, at this day and age, current moment, what would you tell the younger Miss Irie Booth?
Don't take anything personally. Be yourself always. Understand who you are and whose you are. And do you work at your level regardless of what anybody else says, what anybody else does. Never take anything personally.
If I could turn back the hands of time and look at the younger version of Ryan Richardson, I would tell him, take your time, young man. Don't be so quick to react. Do more listening than speaking. And, that's one thing. The older I've gotten, I do more observing in the workplace of people, and I observe how they move. And in turn, that lets me know how I should move with them. I always tell people, your interaction with me will be a direct result of how I interact with you. And you hear, well, you have to be a little bit more understanding. No, that's not going to cut it. I'm a big person on energy. And I also tell people, the same energy you give me is the same energy I give you. So if you in my face and you screaming and hollering and demanding, well, then you can get that energy back times 10. And if that means we got to part ways, we got to part ways.
Yeah. Definitely if patterns are established with that. If you set your expectation and your rules of engagement and they keep doing the opposite, then yeah, it's time to go. Because obviously you can't follow directions and you don't respect me.
Right.
So it's time to go.
So quickly, what is one thing that we don't know about Miss Irie Booth? And in closing, give us some positive words of encouragement.
One thing you don't know about me? I played basketball in college, Division I. I'm still very passionate about basketball.
Cool.
I love to help others, and that's my mission in life, is to bring clarity, help people navigate, and make their lives the best they can possibly be.
All right. Words of encouragement. Gotta go.
Always remember, what you can't name, you can't navigate. Navigate with power, get clarity, and above all, do your thing, do your best, be you.
All right, Miss Irie Booth, all the best to you in the near future, okay? And you're welcome to come back anytime.
Thank you.
All right, this has been Conversations with Ron Richardson on WBOK 1230 AM, streaming worldwide on WBOK1230.com, live each and every Saturday here in the beautiful city of New Orleans, Louisiana. See you guys next week, same time, same place, same bad channel. And remember, New Orleans, healing and recovery start with you. We out of this thing. See you next week. Peace.